Okay, we are live again. Thanks for joining, guys. Winning generation, not a conversation. Yeah, it's just a conversation, like an organic flow of just some humans sharing their perspectives, sharing what they're working on. And we have a guest today, Charlie. I have never met Charlie before. I'm curious about what he is developing and what he is working with, how he serves humanity. Mission World Peace is just very present for me these days. So I would like to know from you, Charlie, like what you have, or like just like not really how, but just share. I believe you are also here to bring peace to the people with what you do. And just feel free to share whatever is present for you in this moment. Thank you for being here, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. What's what we're currently working on is a very unique thing for mental health. I'm surprised how big of a deal. I mean, I'm not surprised how big of a deal it's becoming on the world stage right now. I'm surprised how long it took for us to get there, for us to start acting like it's a big deal, right? Years, decades, a little too late. But the planet shifting like it is consciously with consciousness, it's bringing everything to the surface.
Hmm.
And we have
Mm-hmm.
proven time and time again as humans, we don't like to let the stuff we don't want to deal with come up unless we're forced to. And consciousness right now is forcing everyone to deal with it, and that's the chaos
Yeah.
we see in the world.
Hmm.
So um, we have a company called Mental Wellness Lab, and we've got a in a sense a quantum machine, the stuff that Tesla was playing around with in the early 1900s before it got suppressed. It's not new technology, but
Mm-hmm.
what's new now is more and more people are starting to pay attention to it, and we've got a very unique remedy that we, for lack of better words, broadcast out through our scalar waves,
Hmm.
and it's getting just incredible results in the mental health arena. Um, Many people, many business
Okay.
guys will get it and kind of see like a breakthrough with something they're stuck on. Spiritual people are having their abilities heighten, as Anya will talk about. Anya has experienced directly. But then it's really, really incredible with suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, and fear. Because what this
All right.
machine does is it permanently shifts their baseline and their frequency. So when
Mm-hmm.
we do that, it destroys the old frequency. Um, and I think one of the biggest differences we're starting to understand, or we made the mistake of doing, is there's a big difference between shifting frequency and altering consciousness.
Hmm.
Altering consciousness
Mm-hmm.
is a constant up and down. When you can shift frequency and permanently stay there, that's where the people really start to see a change and they don't have to chase. So this machine is remote. It requires no effort, and it can be implemented with anyone, anytime, anywhere in the world. Um, we need we need their headshot, a date of birth, the city they're living in, and their full name.
So we
We
don't
don't
need
need
we don't need Savior Jesus to come out from heaven, or
no, no. We don't need anything other than, actually, we don't even need to know the machine's on. You don't need to believe in it. It doesn't care about your religion, or doesn't care about if you meditate or your beliefs. Nothing. It's neutral.
Mhm.
It just cuts through the quantum field. So it's quite an amazing thing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. What's present for me is like the ups and downs. So do you say that we are not experiencing those ups and downs anymore because people are overly up and they say like, oh yeah, I had a good day and then I had a bad day. So is it helping us to be more like constantly rising in frequency, or like or holding the stabilization of the frequency, holding the high frequency, and kind of as humanity is evolving, as the earth shifts in its frequency, we all kind of have a more stable upwards trend of what we're experiencing.
So the greatest thing about the machine is it's neutral. So it will continue to adapt with the individual, and it doesn't. We are our own worst enemies. So it doesn't care about anything. It's just always going to work and do what it needs to do. So let's say, for example, someone gets on the machine because they have deep depression, and at the beginning of the machine, if you asked them out of 10, how deep is it? They would say 8, 9 out of 10. It's pretty severe. Okay, so they'll get on the machine. They'll start to feel better, a little bit more clarity, less heaviness, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe 2, 3 weeks in, what they believe is the depression will come back, And they'll think to themselves, did they take me off the machine? Is it not working? What's wrong? I knew this was, I knew this wasn't going to work. And the question is, out of 10, where are you? And they'll start to think about it and they'll say, well, I'm a 5. Okay, well, a 5 out of 10 is a significant increase compared to the very dark 8 or 9 out of 10. And then you add on the planetary alignment, the biggest shift humanity's ever experienced right now. Everything with consciousness, the vast majority of people, if not close to all, are slipping in a negative direction because there's just too much coming. So if you're going from an 8 to 10, 8 out of 10 to 5 out of 10 on the depression scale, that is a massive, massive win. And that's what the machine does.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, Anya, would you okay, there's one question, then I will let Anya go with what she has experienced and how it changed her life. We have a question like, how can I find more about the work the Mental Wellness Lab is doing? So how can people connect?
mentalwellnesslab.com.
Easy, thank you, sir. Anya, let us know like what's present for you, what you feel like sharing. I want to give Charley really time to talk. I feel this just information is very important right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can really, from like first-hand experience, what I experienced, I think like next day or like 2 days after, Charlie sent me a message, hey, you're plugged in, like you are on the machine, like it's working. So I wasn't really thinking about it. I didn't have to do anything. I just lived my life. But what I noticed is first, like I had the most insane, vivid dreams, and it was so amazing. And I remembered everything. So every time when I experienced something, I wrote Charlie this long message on WhatsApp or like recorded myself, and I shared with him all my experience. And there were like a lot of them. So dreams and people around me, they felt, for example, I saw them or I thought, that they are like closed and like, okay, well, he's not going to speak up. She's not going to speak up. But they started opening up. So, and they started sharing things. I was like, oh my God, I saw that that's in you, but I didn't know that it's going to happen so fast. So basically, it's amplifying everything. Like my gifts, my abilities, and yeah, like this calmness. And then I also had like 3-day water fast in combination, with the awareness that I'm on this quantum machine. That has been insanely awesome. So, I mean, based on the fact that we think like, oh, we have to do something, and oh my God, like, is this even on? Like, you just surrender and you're like, you know what? It's quantum. Everything is working out, in my highest good. And it's amazing. I can feel the difference. And I told so many friends, like they are also on the machine. And it's absolutely amazing that you don't have to go anywhere. You are just there, like with this awareness that you are plugged into quantum machine, and it's changing your life. Physical level, mental level,
Hmm.
spiritual level. So yeah,
I'd like to
that's my
know
experience.
like I'd like to know, Charlie, kind of the integration part, like we kind of hear about like people need to integrate, or the body kind of takes 7 years to fully integrate something new. So I'd like to talk with you about the integration of what's happening with the people that you see being working with this machine or having this access for a longer period of time.
The integration, I've been around some very, very powerful individuals with Shaktipat and Reiki and people who can levitate and heal. So I understand the spiritual realm quite well with consciousness and everything else. So integration has always been the hot topic, right? Because everyone can go meditate and do a psilocybin or a 10-day silent retreat, but the day that matters is day 11 when you come out of it. And integration is a very difficult thing for humans, incredibly difficult, because we've never had more people on the spiritual path and never had more access to more knowledge, yet the world's never been more chaotic. So the integration part we don't seem to be too good at. Again, the greatest thing about this machine is it's neutral. And usually the integration comes when someone shifts their frequency, not altering consciousness, but when they shift their frequency and it's permanent, right? So this is exactly what this machine is doing without any effort from us. So from what I've
I like it.
seen, just from the feedback, the integration naturally takes care of itself, kind of like a 12-year-old turning 13. They didn't need a coach. They didn't need to integrate anything. They just 365 days later, they turned 13.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the results have been great. The integration seems like it's a pretty natural topic. One of the most interesting things that comes back is we have so many narratives and stories and years and decades of negative thought loops of who we think we are that we have quite a few people come to us and say, I don't think I'm getting results. I don't think it's working. And what they'll find out is maybe a couple days later, or I'll talk to their spouse, or I'll talk to a kid or a friend, and they'll say, that person's drastically different. Perfect example is a guy by the name of Marcus. I was checking in on him, and he didn't want to get back to me because he was kind of frustrated that he didn't get results. And I said, then why are you calling me now? He said, because I told my wife that I was gonna put her and the kids on the machine, but obviously it's not working, so we're not doing it. And she said, what day did the machine turn on? And he told her, and she's like, that's the very day you came home after 6 months for the first time, and all of your coping mechanisms for stress dropped away. And he looked back at like the last week, not grabbing a drink after work. He's not sitting in front of the TV ignoring the kids. He's getting along better with Amanda, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what's unique is it's changing people so subtly and so profoundly that some of them don't even notice it. But the way the machines work, the way the machine's built, and the way the quantum field works, it's horrible English, but you cannot not work. It's always working.
Charley,
Well, yeah.
I started doing automatic writing in 1989. I've been doing it ever since, and I discovered recently, the last couple of years, that I was downloading a quantum philosophy, on a particular day. And I was just telling them, I just saw it again for the 20th. I go through and put the messages together, and it consecutively builds on the year before, moving that through. And so it's using cognitive behavior training. It's really using neuroscience, and I had no idea I was receiving it that way. But I also discovered I was a savant. Also, that's why I was receiving it.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
yeah. So I really got to check out your stuff.
Yeah, and for you, what you're talking about, that kind of like Anya, I would be interested for you to be on the machine and test it for a week too, just to see how that automatic writing opens up. All your abilities open up.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah.
Like, it's interesting, Charlie. Like, I'm observing Roger now for 2 years, and what I see is when he's channeling, there is this consciousness coming through him, but unconsciously he is doing the same thing in his body. And there are sometimes these loops where things get repeated. So you putting him on the machine, I guess, just like because he was hiding like for 70 years. There are certain patterns that you mentioned as well, and there's people who are not realizing that they've changed because they told themselves those stories all over again and over again and over again, that the body just like is in this state. So tell us more.
Yeah, that's just how it works. We've had quite a few guys come back and say, I've been trying to figure this out for 20, 30 years, and you guys have cracked the code. We didn't crack anything, first of all, because this technology is incredibly ancient. There's nothing special about this. But my partner has been in it for, close to 15 years. And there's something about his remedy. He's tweaked it off and on for the last 15 years. And there's just something about the frequencies and the esoteric symbols and the numbers and everything that he puts into it, that when those scalar waves go to action and the machine kicks in on that picture, some people feel it almost immediately. Some will see it in a couple days and like a week or so, but meditations are deeper. People will still, this isn't a replacement for anything, but maybe they'll continue to go to therapy, and then they start to understand what the therapist is trying to been telling for years, because they're clearer now. They got more clarity. They've got a higher level of consciousness for it. So they're more accepting, they're more absorbable of what they need to do. We've got a guy that has 30 or 40 adult patients who have severe learning disabilities. And one of the guys had seizures weekly. What they found out is he needed to follow a very specific keto diet, but there was such resistance. There was something subconscious that he just wouldn't do it. He'd do it for a couple days, 3 days, and then he'd want a piece of chocolate, or he'd kind of fall off it for a little bit. Well, we put him on the machine and he hasn't had a seizure. You know, he was having weekly seizures. He hasn't had a seizure for 6 weeks because there was something that the machine did neutrally that he couldn't see, that I couldn't see, that no one could see, that removed some type of block or resistance to just sticking with that keto diet. So it's kind of like the New Year's resolution. The New Year's resolution you make January 1st is made at a certain frequency. Unless you shift that permanently, the vast majority of people are going to come February, March, and they're not going to care about that New Year's resolution because it's still the same frequency.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Like,
there's some
what are something? Yeah, you first, and then I go.
also, and Charlie, you were saying before, why is it coming up now? There are energetic changes that are happening in our world that are bringing it about as well. And so, and my messages started making that connection to which I had no clue that that was going on, but because I'd never studied astrology, astronomy, or anything, but the information was showing that, and there are very definite periods in our world where we can see how these changes affect us as humans in our consciousness, and it's going on now. Like you said, everything's coming about, or people are coming up, so it makes sense.
Well, and one more thing to that. One of the great things is people are really suffering right now because of what you just said. A lot's coming up. And they're expecting, some people have just unbelievably dramatic results, but where this is really powerful is it's stabilizing them. When I hear someone say, you know, I made my bed for the first time in a couple of years, I got in the shower, I made a dentist appointment, got my hair cut, little subtle things like that, they look at them, that's a massive win, because the vast majority is slipping into doing the polar opposite. I mean, so this to me is like a stabilization through the most chaotic time humanity's ever experienced.
Right.
All right, then we're going to have this question. Then I would like to share like how my life has been, kind of, so you can just reflect on that. I'd love to know that. But first, like the question is like, how might this work if someone is taking psych meds for clinical depression? Would it allow them to reduce their medication or eliminate it altogether?
With this being the way it's built, with no side effects and no downside, we don't make any physical claims, but I would highly try it because there's nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, very clear. I love the way that I feel the clarity, like the pure consciousness coming out of you. I am not talking with many people, or haven't seen many people answer that clear and share that frequency, so thank you for that. What I realize is, I remember me coming here, I remember me parts of before I came to this earth, like choosing my family as an example, time events, those types of things, coming here being open, and then kind of the ego came in, and I felt this. It's always been there with me, this pure state of consciousness, the pure awareness. I think this is also what you're talking about, and I think people don't get the change because this has always been there and will always be there. There's nothing that we get new because it's always been there. And for me, when the ego came in, it was more difficult for me to be in that frequency and to bring it out to the world, but it's always been there. So it's not surprising for most of the people that the shift is happening until they hear maybe from the outside world, because we always expect other people to give us the proof. We expect the external world to tell us that we are right or that we're wrong, whatever. So just go into this, like, and how this just can be difficult for the ego maybe to see in first place. But as you probably eventually realize yourself, like, there's nothing new that you remember. It's always something that always has been there, and I believe it's with every single person from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I would have nothing to add to that other than most, you know as well as I do, most people don't think like that, right? And that there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we don't get mad at an 8-year-old for being in second grade, and a 16-year-old in 10th grade is not better than the 8-year-old. There's just different stages of consciousness and clarity, right? So when it comes to the ego and what you're talking about, the vast majority of people getting on this machine just want to feel better. Everything you just said is never. It's not going to make
Expectations.
sense. Yeah, it's not going to make sense to them, nor will it for a while, and that's fine. There's a lot of things on this planet I don't understand, and I'll never understand. But the vast majority of people getting on this, they just want to feel better. They want to feel a little bit better than they do.
All right. We just want to feel better, guys. This is just what it is. This is what he's just like saying. Like, and what I hear right now is like, we expect something to be in a certain way. But unless we let go of those expectations, we won't see what's already been with us all along. And this is kind of, I think, like we already come here on this earth being complete.
Mhm.
And there's nothing that we need to add onto ourselves. I just had this conversation before we came on here. Like, as more we think we need to add something to our being, the less we are. You know, the more we try to add, the more we try to prove, the more we like, the less we think we are. And we already come here complete. So Charlie, you just dropped. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. I don't remember. So let's just keep going in a different direction.
Let's keep going. Yeah. We have a few more minutes, 4 minutes and it's half. I know you have to pick up your children. We respect that. With the ego and the expectation part, I think I want to have people really, for those who are may not sure, or the ego says like, yeah, but or maybe he's just like talking. I think you already gave us the answer. Just try it. And I tell anyone, like, before you judge, before you, I don't know, have an opinion, just try it out. Like, I mean, you can keep your opinion if it's not working, just stick with it. Like, but try it out. Like, what's your take?
You said it perfectly. Just there's a lot of people that don't understand it. I even think the people with a PhD in quantum physics don't understand it. They can just describe it better, because the way our minds are built, this or that, right or wrong, Catholic, atheist, like we're built off duality. The only thing we know is duality. And I know people have experienced oneness with the universe, and when we describe that, we're doing the best we can to describe it with a tool that only knows duality. So the ego and the experience, the greatest thing I think, again, about this machine is it doesn't care about your ego, and it's going to cut through it, and it's going to help you shift that vibration. It's going to help you shift that frequency. That's a very powerful thing. So for anyone out there who's struggled on the spiritual path or struggling with anything that they can't get past, or just want a little very subtle 24/7 behind the scenes help, there's nothing better than this. Nothing.
Amazing.
We're in a time too, like Yarna, what you were saying. Yes, we are complete, but when we're here, we're always constantly up leveling our consciousness to get to a higher state of our understanding, and then collectively as well. And that's what's going on right now. And we're kind of being pushed in that direction. And that's why it feels a little chaotic. But we have to understand our role in up leveling our consciousness and using whatever methods or ways or means of getting there.
I think it's like more like we keep rising consciousness until we realize that we are everything. And
Yeah.
it's again, it's evolution. It's a kind of play that we're here to play. But there's nothing greater than just knowing who you are. Like, and that's not from a knowing standpoint, from like I mentally know who I think I am.
Right.
It is like I am that I am, and I don't need to prove that. I don't need to show up. I don't need to try anymore. I just do what I'm here to do, and I allow just whatever is having the control. Like, and there's something just incredibly strong that's just creating all of that. So how about allowing, I don't know, the great love, the universe, God, to function through us? And this is what I believe is when we allow the ego to step away and we create the space. I think that the quantum machine is allowing us to create that. We're just naturally doing what we came here to do. We are on purpose always. We're not trying anymore. No, we're doing through our being. And I think it's such an incredible, wonderful time to be alive on this earth. Charlie, do you want to share anything before we end this conversation today? Wow.
No, just test it out. We've got a couples broadcast, because a lot of women have put their husbands on it without telling them, and as they put it, they're less dicks, and they're better with the kids, they're better with the animals. So we created a couples broadcast because it kind of compounds when you have more than one person in the house doing it at the same time. They kind of just feed off each other. So now we also have a family broadcast. So there's a lot of people that are putting grandma, grandpa, everyone in the house. There's 6, 7, 8 people on it, and they're loving it because it's
So
just creating
how does it
energy.
work? Is there a particular time, or how does it work specifically?
So we grab your photo, those 4 identifiers, your photo, your name, all that, right? We put it on the machine, we put it on a plate, your photo. The machine starts to interact with the photons in the photo, which are the same photons in your physical body because the quantum realm doesn't see different.
Right.
And it starts to pay attention to the imbalances, and it just starts to harmonize them. That's it.
Okay.
So you could be next to the machine, or you could be on the moon, and you're gonna feel it. And it's 24/7. You don't need to be next to it. You don't need to do anything like it. That's the best thing. It's just constantly adapting with you.
Yeah, science is already proving that like it's just happening instantaneously. There is no time delay.
Well, someone the call before you guys, quantum tunneling won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2025. Look that up. I'd never heard that phrase before, and I understand quantum quite well. She said quantum tunneling.
Quantum tunneling.
Quantum tunneling, 2025 Nobel Prize.
Huh.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, see, like all of
Amazing.
you would think all 4 of us on this call would know. I've never heard that word. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is this the website?
Mentalwellnesslab.com. That's the one.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
Great.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for
Easy.
having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We're gonna do this again.
Amazing.
Sure.
Enjoy your day, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Great.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Anya, for bringing him on. Everyone who's watching this Mental Wellness Lab, if you want to, be in your quantum self, and
Yeah,
experience
Yarna,
your
I would also
potential,
recommend
go.
you to try it. Just ask Charlie to put you on,
Yeah.
just to experiment. And also what is
Mhm.
fascinating, there's limitless amount of people, like it's infinite. Like it doesn't have a limit how many people can be on because it's quantum.
Amazing.
And it's like super affordable. It's like for anyone can afford it. It's really, I mean, there's some subscription based, but for trying out, you just contact Charlie and like he will make it happen.
Yeah, I got in contact with him now.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody who's listening now,
Amazing.
just Charlie Johnson on LinkedIn or on this website. So
Perfect.
Yeah, Charlie Johnson, you can connect with him. Easy, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Winning
you.
Generation. It is time. It is so time. Like if you think you're not ready, it's a lie. Because you came here ready, you're born ready. And it's just time to do it. So thanks, Anya, for bringing him on.
Yes.
See you guys. We love you.
Okay. Thank you.
love you. Bye.
Bye.